A Hat in Time is a cheery, goofy game. All the residents of the first level are lookalikes who refer to themselves as Mafia. This murder of Private Eye Crows is hilariously incompetent. This textbook critiques capitalism. The very second character you meet is this girl with the mustache. The insane incident for this whole game is that Headkit's spaceship was on its way back to her homeworld when this guy knocks at the bridge, demanding toll, in the vacuum of space.
Even in space!
And you can don 2 pairs of sunglasses for this movie shoot. Load up any level and you can find a new example to add to this list, which is one of the 3D platformer's many strengths, that it keeps things fresh. One chapter starts you off with gathering and tossing paintings into fires as part of a ritual, then you're fighting a possessed outhouse, and after that you're skewing around the forest delivering packages to its ghostly inhabitants. It's all done in the name of fun, for providing the player a memorable experience, and no level is more memorable, I think, than Queen Vanessa's Manor. Subcon Forest, which I've described and shown briefly thus far, is the game's ghastliest level, though in a Halloween fun sort of way. Mostly. It's a cute sort of creepy, and extending its central mushroom tree or trudging across its scorched floor is more akin to exploring a wonderland whose whimsy is grounded by its over-the-top guardian. So a haunted mansion wouldn't inspire images more horrifying than the extraterrestrial invasion from the first chapter, and that's played for laughs, Headkit herself being the extraterrestrial.
What do you mean you fell from the sky?
Setting off for the manor sits well within the game's ordinary. Snow blankets the terrain once you make it to the far side of this broken bridge, and then some minor platforming challenges slow your progress. Once you blast apart the final ice wall, the icy corridor opens up into this massive snowfield in which there's largely nothing but white hills and frozen trees. A dark haze drapes over the entirety of the frozen landscape, and as you approach its center, the 8-stage silhouette fades in through the frosty air, and close up you see that the edifice is in a state of disrepair. Entry isn't apparent as the snowdrift holds the front door closed, none of the windows are unlocked, and the level begins tame enough, a flooded cellar. This guy pops up to remind you not to use your hats, and does so with the upbeat tone you've heard from pretty much every character up to this point.
Yeah, don't use them. Thanks.
The only hat you can use, default hat aside, is the Dweller's Mask, which reveals this outline of a shackled prisoner on the rear wall. But you're not liable to think much of it, since the fat lines resemble a sketch done for a decorative prop. You grab this key for this lock, which drills you on this level's main objective. The path now clear, you head up the stairs to the first floor, where you see An expected complaint of this particular second might be that it's a cheap scare because it's a jump scare, and that's not wrong. It's a boom of noise startling the unaware player. But the unique quality of this jump scare is that it's not the scare itself or the release of built-up tension. It's priming. The flash of lightning, accompanied by a crash of piano keys, whips you into a panicked state. You might start, and before you can recover and process what just occurred, you hear this voice. But a stereotypical witch voice spouted in a trite line isn't where the scene's terror digs its roots. It's in Headkit's reaction. She may be just a child, but she hasn't shown fear in the face of anything, save for her meeting with the spectral snatcher. And after that, she's unbothered by his presence. But the owner of this voice? You see her pratfall and pumping of her short arms in a desperate bid to get away. Get away. I imagine I speak for a lot of players when I say this moment took me by surprise. A Hat in Time has you playing as this girl who likes blowing raspberries at bystanders, has to turn off the lava taps in the town, and runs the length of a collapsing train to defuse a bomb. It loves nothing more than being silly and having a good laugh. So it turning around and facing you again with such a juxtaposition, as though it had forgotten its identity as a platformer, is jarring, perhaps even alarming. This isn't the case, however, for the game prepares you for this encounter, beginning with your approach. Remember my description of the Manor appearing through the haze? I wasn't just waxing poetic. It's breaking through the pitch-colored drape, like some mysterious titan, adds this awesome quality. Humbles the player who previously stomped over anything and everything had kid could get her boots on. A creepy ambiance fills the air, and the color palette as well plays a role, as the graphics, normally bright, vivid, and saturated, here are gray, muted. The colors are as cold as the land itself, and that, combined with the mood and the unsettling soundtrack, commands the player's respect. Once you settled into the mood of the location, the most blatant signal that you're stepping into a horror show is the opening of the cellar door, paired with the erupt audio cue. It'll startle first-timers, likely make them hesitant to enter, but it's a warning sign that down at Sable Square is a realm not to be trifled with. No danger thrives in the cellar itself, but its flooded state is a whisper of the house's residency that there's no one here maintaining the property. It's loosely replicating that eerie feeling of exploring an abandoned home or facility, of seeing man-made walls, ceilings, floors, and furniture crumble and collect dust. Strangely enough, the first floor itself is intact, which is liable to set the player at ease. Until... When I was learning the craft of writing, finally at the mark of being a decent writer, or so I like to think, I wrote a horror story which featured a monster, and I described said monster with the following passage. It was a creature. What is that thing? Which dragged its lower lip across the ground and slithered as it crawled, and died as it accomplished, and cried as it lived, and its skin was the color of a deceased. When John noticed it, he screamed, which caused it to notice him. When it looked at him, its head was 6 feet from its arms, and then it screamed, so loud that John couldn't hear it. My goal in presenting the creature in this manner was to leave the reader confused and guessing what it really looks like. Everything up to this point in A Hat in Time has had a defined shape. This is a man. This is a penguin. This is a spirit. This is an owl. This is a picnic! But this? You can't make out what it is for the miasma radiating from its body. If it even has one. You can make out its shape by hugging the walls. You'll also recognize it as this character from the logo. But when you're there, in the moment, face to face with this abomination, you have no idea what you're dealing with. All you see is this black cloud, further unidentifiable for the screen distortion, its piercing red eyes fixated on you, running you down, and you have seconds to find shelter. The 2 main floors in the manor are divided into halves. The hallways which the monster stalks, and the chambers. So long as you remain in the kitchen or the master bedroom, you're out of harm's way. But safety is brittle, because in order to progress, you have to draw the monster to you. As the cellar demonstrated, each set of stairs is locked and the keys are out of reach. In order to put them in reach, you have to shake them loose, but doing so creates noise. In principle, stamping on this piano is no different than powering off a generator to draw in the guard and Hitman. The key distinction though lies in power. In Hitman, you can subdue the guard, but you can do nothing to the monster. You have to willingly give up your safety, attract the creature to your very location, and pray, as you cower beneath the kitchen table, that it doesn't bend down. There are just 2 words to summarize my verbose essay on how A Hat in Time successfully features a horror level, and they are gradual integration. The title by this point has proven its penchant for experimentation. Mafia Town is a hub world which alters itself slightly for an act's objective, while Battle of the Birds is 2 parallel storylines divergent at their beginning and convergent for the finale. So when the game rotates its dials on the tones, the music, the atmosphere, nothing will feel out of place. It's the game trying yet another hat. And just when you've acclimated to this latest climate, it fires on all cylinders and you're thrust into a living nightmare where you're powerless and you have to flirt with the beast out for your blood. At first blush, the monster is a one-scene wonder on par with the angry sun from Super Mario Bros. 3. Nothing more than a wrench thrown into your flow. You won't soon forget her because she's quite the wrench, but neither does the game. Each chapter has what are known as rifts. Blue rifts take you to linear parkour levels, while purple rifts transport you to distorted realms based on the chapter. Their haphazard geography and architecture resembles the surreal landscapes you would sight in a dream because these rifts are dreams of bygone days. Hidden throughout you'll find storybook pages, and once you've made it to the end, you get to see what's on these sheets of paper. Illustrated tales cast an insight on a certain character or a cast from the respective chapter. Some are sad, a factory worker dreaming of a better life. 2 children sharing the same lifelong goal growing up to become bitter rivals. One is absolutely heartbreaking. Queen Vanessa was once in love and beloved by the denizens of her kingdom, but after catching her prince in an affair, her heart shatters and she runs away to her manor. Unknown to her, her lover was merely paying a flower girl for a bouquet just for her, but her jealousy, her possessiveness, her obsession have consumed her when he arrives to explain. Her guards steal him to a cellar where they lock him up, and she transforms into something unimaginable. Learning the past of this monster, this tortured woman, recontextualizes her. She's not some beast who transforms intruders into frozen statues for kicks. She's a woman who once loved and was loved but lost everything because of a simple misunderstanding. By all means, the blame for her loss of everything held dear lies at her feet and her feet alone. She placed no trust in her lover, didn't hear him out, chose instead to release the lid holding down her darkest desires, attacking intruders on sight to protect the prince who's no longer chained in her cellar. You reap what you sow, but her tragedy and all it affected is undeserved. She just wanted, like any of us, to be happy, and her downfall reveals a second face to the horror of her level. This essay has gone over the mechanics and presentation. The second phase is that her tale could be our tale. We're all human, unfortunately imperfect beings who struggle to control our anger, who shut down when the day doesn't pan out as we planned, who return to habits we know we should leave to the wayside. We can tamper down these negative emotions. We can work to control them. We can outburst when hardware malfunctions. We can shut ourselves away for fear that our greatest phobias will unravel our mortal coils. Life isn't the easiest event to negotiate, even more as we're captives to the whims of our emotions. Hatred, fear, callousness. It's practically an accomplishment in and of itself that we manage to retain our good humanity. It's such a fragile item. One hurtful word, one careless action, and that's all it can take. And then when we look at Queen Vanessa, her lightless form hunched, her personality warped, we might see ourselves.